Having Philosophies, an excerpt from our textbook, Philosophizing and Being Human, co-written with Mary Chris Ramoya and Mark Oliver Pasco, PhD. As clearly as you can, try to articulate your life motto. It can be a guiding principle or ideal that you may have in or about life. You might already have one. Maybe you have been saying it in conversation with friends on social media. If not, think about what beliefs you have about how life should be lived and try to phrase one of these out loud. Think about it as the statement that you would choose to put below your picture in the yearbook when you graduate. What beliefs you have about how life should be lived. Filipinos have a word, pilosopo, the exact definition for which is quite hard to pinpoint. It may refer to someone who may be a smart aleck, especially in answering questions. What a philosopher says often gives us a feeling that he or she is trying to be clever and not in the sense of ingenious, and may sometimes irritate or amuse us. Usually, our reaction to these wisecracks is to roll our eyes or shake our heads or laugh them off or be exasperated. Usually, we think of a philosopher as someone whose answers do make sense, but not in the usual or expected ways that answers are supposed to be given. In other words, philosopher might be someone who thinks outside of the box. As you read, you will know that these two descriptions are true in part when applied to philosophers. When we encounter the word philosopher, we relate it with what we think philosophy is as a subject, and maybe to people that have philosophies. When a beauty pageant host, for instance, asks a contestant what her philosophy is, we know that the host is asking what basic principle or principles that particular contestant lives by, or what sort of general guidelines she uses to make sense of her life and her actions. Having a philosophy can also mean having a general guideline about a specific activity or an aspect of life. A business philosophy, for example, might sound like economic growth is inseparable from sustaining interpersonal relationships. A gaming philosophy might sound like it's good to help a player in his quest. You might need their help in defeating the big boss. Or you may have specific philosophy about grades, such as why strive for 99 when 75 is already enough. Or maybe the opposite. It's not about just doing the bare minimum. It's about doing the best you can. As such, generally, philosophies like these give us a sense of what an activity is for, indicating the purpose of that activity, or perhaps what an activity is or should be about. In our example of a gaming philosophy, we see that for our hypothetical gamer, part of helping another player is for the help that he can give in return. In our example of a business philosophy, we see that the activity of running a business should be about building and maintaining good working relationships among managers, employees, and the community. Having philosophies also gives us a sense of how to think about certain things or how to view certain things. In all our examples, we see a particular way of thinking about gaming, about business, and about grades. As such, while having philosophies involve personal codes and guidelines, these codes and guidelines are themselves understandable in terms of purpose as well as particular ways of thinking. Having a purpose and a point of view is applicable not only to people but to social institutions as well. Each one has a mission and vision statement that articulates their functions, objectives, and methods. I'm sure that your school has its own mission vision statement. In this light, your school is declaring why it exists, how it wants to achieve its purpose, and reiterate what it is built. So, our definition of having a philosophy is getting more complex. One, it's having a philosophy involves having a reason for existing, which answers a why question, sometimes in the form of for what. Second, having a philosophy also entails having a method for obtaining goals, which answers a how question. Again, this is excerpted from our textbook, Philosophizing and Being Human, which I co-wrote with Mary Chris Ramoya and Dr. Mark Oliver Pasco. If you like this content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Samo't sa Simula. Thank you very much.